And in the Battle of Missouri today, Todd Haley felt that the game last week against San Diego was one of two aberrations that this team has had. That blowout loss to Denver as well. Felt like the team bounced back well against the Broncos, so expects the same here. Steve Spagnuolo has not mentioned the word playoffs throughout the season. He has avoided that word. He said, look, it's important that we're playing in a meaningful game in December, but I told the guys, this is just like the other 13. Just take care of business. Kansas City won the toss. They will defer to the second half. Ryan Succop getting things started with Amendola, the deep man for St. Louis. We're underway. Amendola had a running lane, and he got slowed down as he hit the 25-yard line. And he's brought down right around the 28 by Eric Berry, the rookie on special teams. Sam Bradford, it's not that often you see a rookie have this kind of impact at the quarterback position, Dan.
Yeah, he told us yesterday he'll be aware of the Chiefs' leading pass rusher, Tamba Hali, and his 11 sacks. And he expects the Chiefs' corners, both Carr and Flowers, to be aggressive because they often get help deep from the two safeties.
And he's a young guy, so when our group asked him about the season, he said, it's been awesome. It's been a great experience. The season has flown by, but I still have a lot to learn. Handoff, it's Steven Jackson getting the call out across the 30-yard line. Jackson is over 1,000 yards for 6 consecutive seasons. This is the starting offensive line. How about another rookie, Roger Saffold, starting at left tackle. You got the rookie at left tackle, the rookie at quarterback, and a second-year pro at right tackle. Backs and receivers, they like to go with that 3 wide receiver set. But all in all, it is Steven Jackson who sets the tone for this offense after the 5-yard gain. On a 2nd and 5 now for the Rams. Bradford on a short toss. He gets Daniel Fells involved, breaking a tackle, and Fells able to roll his way across the 35, brought down by the veteran Mike Vrabel. Defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs, 3-4 set. They've got a rock-solid veteran, Ron Edwards, the presence up front. Linebackers, Tamba Hali is having a career year, 11 sacks this season. That's a career high. And in the secondary, they've got playmakers back there, and they've got a developing one in Eric Berry, the number 5 pick overall out of Tennessee. Smart, tough, and maturing quickly. Dump off. It's Jackson for a first down. Steven Jackson walking a tightrope along the sideline, carries it just short of midfield. Derek Johnson with a stop for Kansas City, and a new set of downs for St. Louis to work with after the 13-yard catch and run.
And pretty good example of the athletic ability of Bradford rolling left under pressure, just flipping the ball out to a wide open Steven Jackson. That's a huge first down for the Rams to get all the way out to midfield on a 13-yarder.
So 1st and 10, just shy of the 49-yard line. Bradford has won 4 of his last 5 home starts here at the Edward Jones Dome. Shotgun formation. Bradford finds the right man. Makes the connection to Gibson. And Gibson across the 45-yard line for St. Louis. Derek Johnson, the tackle. Here's the playoff picture in the NFC right now. St. Louis 6-7. They hold the tiebreak over Seattle. And the Rams still have San Francisco coming up next Sunday, and then wrap up the regular season at Seattle. Tampa Bay in the hunt, Green Bay in the hunt. We know the Packers dealing with a major injury at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers. After the 7-yard pickup, it's going to be Jackson, a little stutter step move, and Jackson extending his body for the first down. Kansas City territory down at the 40-yard line. Javon Belcher with the tackle for KC.
And we're already seeing how much the Rams want to get Jackson involved. They go right to the line of scrimmage here on first down, but every play, every touch has been to Jackson.
And Matt Castle trying to get himself ready to lead this Kansas City offense. Jackson. Great vision there by Jackson to find that hole and turn something out of nothing. Mike Vrabel with the stop. And it's time for another edition of our Fouts Focus here in the Midwest.
Danny Amendola is quickly turning into another one of those great slot receivers in the NFL. Reading and recognizing whether it's zone or man-to-man coverage, having the vision to find the open area, and then the ability to make the tough catch. That's why people are starting to compare him to the Patriots' Wes Welker, another Texas Tech Red Raider.
2nd and 7. We'll see if Amendola gets involved here. Fake the running play. Bradford with a deep drop. And throws out across the 30-yard line to LaRon Robinson. In his 4th year out of Illinois State, Mike Vrabel with the tackle. And St. Louis just calmly moving it down the field. It's another Rams first down.
And right to the line of scrimmage again, but this is the calmness of the quarterback fading away and finding his receiver, Robinson, over the middle.
Bradford now at 31 yards through the air. Less than 100 yards away from 3,000 on the season. Bradford hooks a pass, and he's got Daniel Fells. He likes Fells' ability, and he was talking him up in our production meeting as Fells is hit by Eric Berry.
Well, he's 6'4", he weighs 272, and he catches the ball like a wide receiver. 33 catches already for Fells, and he will alternate with Billy Badgema, who's in the game right now. He's more the blocking tight end, but what a weapon Daniel Fells is developing into.
Formerly with Atlanta, now in his 4th year out of Cal Davis, and a 2nd and 4 after that 6-yard completion. Badgema, the motion man. Back to the running game. It's Jackson looking for blockers. That keeps the legs churning out across the 20-yard line, and it's right at that first down line. Steven Jackson fighting for extra yardage. We'll see where they spot the football, as Derek Johnson was in on that play for Kansas City.
This is basically what San Diego did to Kansas City last week, just dominating the Chiefs' defense. Very confident drive being led by Sam Bradford. And of course, when you can give the ball to Steven Jackson 4 times now on the ground for 16 yards.
They have gone 10 games since their last opening drive touchdown. That's the longest active drought in the NFL, and we'll get a timeout. Impressive way to open things up so far for St. Louis. They face a 3rd and 1 here in the first when we come back. Opening drive of the game, St. Louis Rams, 9:28 to play in this first quarter. And the Rams with a 3rd and 1. They used the timeout to have a little extra chat time regarding this important 3rd down conversion.
Interesting situation here. Will they go for it on 4th down if they don't make it? They just need a half a yard here on 3rd.
Jackson in the backfield. They'll hand it to Jackson, trying to power his way. And Jackson leaning forward. It should be enough. It is. First down as Dorsey and Johnson combine to bring him down. This drive continues for Steve Spagnuolo and company.
Well, because Steve Jackson doesn't quit on the play. Gets hit right here, stopped, but look at the legs keep driving. Remember, Steven Jackson, 6'2", almost 240 pounds. And he is so excited about playing a meaningful game here in December.
The all-time Rams leading rusher, and he is a workhorse. First down for St. Louis. Bradford over the middle. And the quick completion there is Amendola. Mike Vrabel there for the stop. So Danny Amendola making his first catch. Amendola, career high, 69 receptions this season. How about this, though? He's got the fewest yards per catch for a wide receiver with at least 60 catches in a season in NFL history. He comes in averaging just over 8 yards per reception. That one covered 5. 2nd and 5 for St. Louis. Robinson, the motion man, running play. Jackson straight up the gut. And Jackson carrying the pile inside the 10. It's short of a first down. Edwards and Berry collaborate there defensively.
This could not be a better start for the St. Louis Rams, with Bradford being perfect 6 for 6 and Jackson just pounding away at the middle of the Chiefs defense.
And this is Kansas City, who won the toss and deferred. 13th play of the drive. Matt Castle just wants an opportunity to get out there and probably use up some of this nervous energy. Flag down on the pitch for Amendola. And he's angled out of bounds. This play looks like it was whistled dead early.
False start. Offense number 47. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
And the first hiccup for St. Louis offensively at Billy Badgema, the tight end.
And he was on the opposite side of the formation where the ball was going. That was a creative play call there by Pat Shurmur. The little option flip to Amendola, who easily got the first down. They'll back him up.
They're going to have to work for it here now on a 3rd and 6 for St. Louis. Three receiver set from the gun, and that one didn't look crisp.
Same thing. Another false start.
This offense was looking so fluid through this opening drive, and now with 7:16 to play in the first. Mistakes.
False start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
And that's Jason Smith, the number 2 pick in the 2009 draft out of Baylor, called for the penalty at right tackle.
Yeah, just a little bit of a quick start here. And that gives you a pretty good idea why the Rams are just 6-7. A young team still trying to figure it out.
So back it up to a 3rd and 11 now for St. Louis. Jackson sets up as a receiver. Bradford from the gun. They handle the pressure, and it's incomplete. Trying to hit Fells. And for Bradford, his first incompletion. That puts a halt to this drive as Andy Studebaker was there defensively. Bradford now 6 of 7 for 42 yards. And we'll get a field goal attempt from St. Louis.
And fans yelling that Studebaker was on the back of Fells. No flag. That ball deflected in the air, close to being picked off by the Chiefs.
37-yard attempt for Josh Brown. He's had an outstanding season, over 100 points, and he's got major range. This is to put St. Louis on the board. 37 yards away, and he's got it. Rams with a 3-0 lead over Kansas City. Chiefs are yet to have the football. We'll see Matt Castle when we come back to St. Louis. I'm rejoining you here in St. Louis, gateway to the west. 3-0. Rams leading the Chiefs with 6:56 to play in this first quarter. Sam Bradford having a conversation with assistant coach Dick Curl. 14 plays, 53 yards. It ends on a 37-yard field goal. Dexter McCluster is the deep man. And this is returnable from the 5. And McCluster ran into a wave of St. Louis special teams players. He comes up short of the 15. Darian Stewart making the play. Matt Castle in the Kansas City offense when we come back. Kansas City Chiefs are 4-0 against the Rams since they moved to Missouri from Los Angeles in 1995. And dominant numbers in those 4 victories. This is the 10th overall meeting between the two teams here today in St. Louis. For Kansas City, Matt Castle started feeling some pain Tuesday late at night, went to the facility on Wednesday morning, and Dan, he was in surgery within an hour and a half to have the appendix taken out.
Well, he passed the first test from the doctors. This is even bigger test, obviously.
Motion man is Copper, and Castle to throw on first down. It's Charles releasing out of the backfield, and Charles is out of bounds just before the first down marker. A look at the Kansas City offense, and protecting that right side for Matt Castle will be Barry Richardson, the 3rd-year pro out of Clemson. Backs and receivers, Chris Chambers. He's back in the good graces of head coach Todd Haley, looking for some veteran leadership and a guy who's been through it before. This is a big game. Castle's pass knocked down. Could not get it past the line of scrimmage. It's incomplete. And James Laurinaitis supplying some of that pressure for St. Louis.
Yeah, supplied the pressure and got his left hand up to knock it down.
So it's 3rd down, 3rd and 1. Castle, it's dropped. Out across the 25-yard line, Dwayne Bowe, who has just 1 catch the last 2 weeks. He's hit a major cold spell. Chris Chamberlain drew the assignment, the linebacker.
Yeah, Chamberlain all over the back of Bowe right here. Quick reaction to knock it out, but Bowe had both hands on that ball. He's got to make that conversion on 3rd down.
He was shut out against Denver a couple of weeks ago. 1 catch for 3 yards last week in the loss to San Diego. Dustin Colquitt to punt, a low snap. Amendola waiting for it. Brings it in cleanly at the 23, has some room to work with. Weaves his way down the sideline. Amendola into Kansas City territory, and he is brought down just short of the 35. It's a 42-yard return, and to Mario Williams with a stop on special teams.
Yeah, great picket wall set up by the Rams. And Andy Studebaker is shaken up on the play. Here comes the block right here. And this gets Amendola across midfield and down the sideline. Good punt, but he outkicked his coverage.
That matches the longest return of the season for Amendola. St. Louis with a 3-0 lead, trying to add to it. Jackson, a running lane. And Jackson is wrestled down as he crossed the 35-yard line by Derek Johnson. Kansas City's leading tackler this season, a sideline-to-sideline performer at that linebacker spot.
1 yard gain, 2nd and 9.
Talking to Pat Shurmur about his young quarterback. He says he's unique in that he's a tall quarterback that has athletic ability, so they can change the launch point. Move him on bootlegs, as we've seen, and he can also throw without having to set his feet.
Bootleg, Bradford. And not much there. He hits LaRon Robinson, but he's hit quickly by Flowers. Right now, we'll get a hit from New York. JB.
Indy trying to keep its playoff hopes alive and keep the Jags from winning the AFC South. Peyton Manning and company capping an 8-play, 82-yard drive. That 7-yard strike to Austin Collie. Colts on top, 7-0 halfway through the first. Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts.
Well, Austin Collie back in there, JB, and slowly Indianapolis trying to get some of their pieces back into play. Jacksonville with a win, wins the division. Shotgun on a 3rd and 8 for St. Louis. Rush is coming. Bradford knocked down.
Derek Johnson on the blitz, got his hands up. So both quarterbacks have been victimized by athletic linebackers making the play on the way to the quarterback.
4th and 8.
There's Johnson right there. Watch him get up in the air here and just knock that. Actually, it looked like he knocked the ball down with his face mask.
They're going to try a long field goal here with Josh Brown. Since 2003, Brown has the most field goal makes from 50 or more yards in the NFL, 27 of them. This is a 52-yard attempt. Leaning into it. Dead solid, perfect. 6-0 St. Louis.
You gotta love kicking in a dome, don't you? I know he does.
2 field goals for Brown, the last one from 52 yards away. The Rams extend their lead here in the first. St. Louis 6, Kansas City nothing here in the first quarter. A 4-play, 2-yard drive after the Amendola long return off the punt. And St. Louis does have points to show for it as McCluster is the deep man. Again, returning from that corner at the 6. They have him boxed in. Snakes his way out across the 25-yard line and comes up just short of the 30. Jerome Murphy with the play on special teams. Time of possession right now, lopsided. Kansas City has had the football 55 seconds in this first quarter. On a handoff, it's Thomas Jones, and he's buried right away. Jones actually lost a yard on the play as Vobora and Dahl combined to bring him down. Defensively for St. Louis, 5 former Giants as part of this defensive group, including Fred Robbins. The connection, of course, Steve Spagnuolo, the former defensive coordinator with the Super Bowl champion Giants. Vobora, Mr. Irrelevant in the 2008 draft, the last player taken overall. He's starting again, and Ron Bartell is back. Bartell had a stinger, shoulder injury, did not play last week in the 31-13 loss in New Orleans. 2nd and 11. Jones trying to get it to the edge. Not going to happen. Good help there by Bartell in run support. And he gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, that's the thing about the Ram defense. They told us that they want to attack the run. This is attacking the run. 1, 2 guys right there at the line of scrimmage. 3, 4, and the 5th guy gets him for no gain. That is what the game plan is for the Rams. Load the box, put the pressure on Matt Castle.
They could not run the football last week in San Diego. This is the #1 rushing offense in the NFL. Jones had 3 carries for 1 yard. 3rd and 10. Look out. Castle steps up, avoids the rush, and drop. It's Copper. And a flag thrown.
Flag in the secondary, could be holding against the Rams. Great move there by Castle to get the ball to Copper. If Copper makes the catch, he's still running.
Illegal contact. Defense number 35. 5-yard penalty and a down.
And that's Kevin Dockery, another one of those former New York Giants as part of Spagnuolo's defense.
Well, let's check out Kevin Dockery. Here he is right here. Here's Copper. And that right there is 7 yards down the field. That's illegal contact. But Copper just let that ball go right through his hands.
First down now from the 35-yard line. Fake the handoff. Castle floats one upstairs and hauled in by Tim Castile. The starting fullback brings it out across the 45-yard line and angled out of bounds. A 12-yard pickup. Shimago Atogwe over there defensively. AFC playoff picture. It's Kansas City in first place in the West at 8-5. But San Diego continues to put the pressure on, now at 8-6. Kansas City still has Tennessee on the schedule next Sunday and then Oakland to wrap up the regular season. Running play, and there's nothing there. It's Thomas Jones. NFL Today update, a lot going on around the league. Let's check in with JB.
That it is, Ian, and take a look here. 9-play, 76-yard drive of the Baltimore Ravens. Flacco hooking up there with Ed Dixon. He takes it 34 yards to pay dirt, and it's all even in Baltimore with the Saints at 7 late in the first. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts.
Now, JB, you saw some bad signs at the end of that Houston game, despite the fact Baltimore got the win, but some vulnerabilities. A little bit of trickery here. McCluster. St. Louis fully prepared for it. Ron Bartell chasing down McCluster. And it's another loss on the play as we head back to New York and JB.
All right, Ian, take a look here at the Giants going out 7-0 over Philadelphia. Eli Manning hooking up with Mario Manningham. Manningham, that is 35 yards, 9 plays, 71 yards. 7-0 Giants over the Eagles late in the first. Back to the Bird and the Beard.
Oh, JB, thank you.
Yeah, the big play on that last reverse was James Hall staying at home using his experience and turning it back inside.
3rd and 15. Castle, plenty of time, and he's picked off. Intercepted by Dockery. Into Kansas City territory. That's one thing that the Chiefs have not done very often this season, and that's turn the ball over. Only the 10th turnover of the season for Kansas City. They came in lowest in the NFL, tied with New England.
And only the 5th interception thrown by Castle. But you can see 2 Kansas City Chiefs receiver, Mawiaki and Bo, in the same spot.
It's been a long time since Matt Castle has thrown a pick. His first interception in his last 163 pass attempts. Kansas City turns it over. St. Louis takes over with a first down handoff to Jackson. See that pile being pushed out across the 45-yard line.
Well, in the circle is Moeaki and Bo. And the receiver, Moeaki, on the inside's got to continue his route. He stops right here, and that causes Bo to bump into him, and the easy pick by Dockery, his first of the season. But that's got to be a rookie mistake on Tony Moeaki.
2nd and 6 now for St. Louis after the 4-yard run by Jackson. Motion man Robinson, fake the handoff, moving pocket. Bradford. That was almost picked off as LaRon Robinson was in the spot, and a diving attempt by Brandon Flowers.
Yeah, the Chiefs have 10 interceptions on the year. They should probably have 20. So many drops by Brandon Carr. Now Flowers sneaks in from the outside here, and Bradford never sees him because he's thrown to the crossing route there in Robinson. Good play by Flowers, but boy, the Chiefs could have used that turnover.
Tamba Hali was giving chase on Bradford. The Chiefs were very impressed with the way Bradford uses his legs, gets out of the pocket, makes athletic plays. On a 3rd and 6 now for St. Louis. Bradford steps up, throwing in traffic, and it's complete. He's got Amendola. And a first down for St. Louis out near the 35. Brandon Carr with a stop for Kansas City.
This shows you the maturity of Bradford. A lot of young quarterbacks would panic with this type of pressure, especially from Hali coming. But he steps up inside just enough, finds Amendola for the first down. Big play by Bradford.
Have to be impressed with the way St. Louis has handled its business so far on offense. Kansas City has not had many opportunities. It's 6-0 Rams in front at the end of one. This is the NFL on CBS. Start of the second quarter here in St. Louis. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew. First quarter numbers. Look at the time of possession in favor of the Rams. This is a St. Louis team that's 4-2 at home this season. They were 2-22 inside the dome the previous 3 years. Bradford throws, got the check down, and it's Jackson. And a flag thrown. Jackson spilled out just short of the 30-yard line. Derek Johnson among those there for Kansas City defensively, and Ron Winter will sort out the flag. And pointing in the direction of St. Louis.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And the second penalty on Jason Smith, the Dallas, Texas native.
This is so common for offensive linemen just using their hands. Now that is holding, it's face mask, it's all kinds of illegal activity there. Hard to hide when you're 6'7", 307.
Working against Tyson Jackson, the number 3 pick in the 2009 draft. Jason Smith was the number 2 pick. 1st and 20. Bradford to throw. Tried to set up a dump off in the area of Daniel Fells, and it's incomplete. Got a sports fan on your gift list? CBSSports.com. Shop has officially licensed NFL gear. Get 3-day shipping on every order. Go to shop.cbssports.com.
Give John McGraw a lot of credit on that last play. He was right with that screen the whole way. Bradford saw him and threw the ball at the feet of his receiver, but heads up by number 47 there.
Bradford 49 yards through the air, 8 of 12. They have not looked deep down the field, and that's been the issue because of the injuries to Donnie Avery and to Clayton. They don't have that home run threat at the wide receiver position. Bradford's offline, trying to hit Danny Amendola.
And Bradford got drilled after he let that ball go by Tamba Hali. You know, if this happens to a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady, that's 15 yards there. But Sam, you're just a rookie. You're going to have to take that lick.
Really? That's how it works, huh?
I think so.
We've seen enough games through the years and played in enough of them to know how it works.
How big was that penalty on Jason Smith now?
3rd and 20. Bradford opened the day 6 of 6. He's in on 2 of his last 7 passes. Bradford is sacked. Wallace Gilberry, first man there. And Gilberry had a fumble return last week. He's paying dividends for this Romeo Crennel coordinated defense.
Yeah, that's his 5th sack of the year, but Bradford in this situation should be thinking about getting back into field goal range and trying to pick up the first down. Held on to this ball way too long, and Gilberry, coming from the inside, goes all the way around to bring up that 5th sack of the season for him.
Donnie Jones, one of the better punters in the game. And he'll be booting it to Javier Arenas, averaging just under 9 yards per return. Arenas moving forward. Brings it in at the 18 and drilled as he crossed the 20-yard line. Britt Miller, the play on special teams. Gilberry puts an end to this St. Louis drive. 6-0 Rams. Thought the fantasy season was over? It's not. Play NFL.com playoff challenge today. You could win a trip to Super Bowl 46 in Indianapolis. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy. Out of the pocket, Castle swings it to the outside, and Moiaki with a catch for Kansas City. And we've talked about Matt Castle's condition. Had emergency surgery last Wednesday prior to the San Diego game. Wasn't allowed to travel. He said it was a helpless feeling watching the game back at home. What should we make of this and the appendectomy that Castle had? Off the pitch, Jamal Charles turning it upfield. Not much of a hole there for him to work with.
Well, the last occurrence in major sports of a player playing after an appendectomy is Andres Torres of the San Francisco Giants. Played 12 days, but in center field. A little bit of difference between playing quarterback in the NFL than playing center field for the world champion Giants. But for Castle, you're seeing them move the pocket, trying to keep him from getting any hits in the pocket. He's got a big flak jacket on and an extra pad around his waist.
Andrea Bargnani, the center for the Raptors, also had one. He missed about 3 weeks of action. Castle in trouble, trying to get rid of it. Ball got popped up in the air on Charles and incomplete. And the offensive woes continue for the Kansas City Chiefs. They had 67 yards of total offense last week in the loss to San Diego. They've got 24 in the first half so far.
And this is Chris Long coming in and pulling Castle down from behind. Now that will stretch out his abdomen. They got to be careful about that type of action. Haley told us that he was okay in practice stretching back like that, but that is a concern.
Dustin Colquitt punting. Amendola is deep. This is a high punt from Colquitt. Amendola, that ball bounces and rolls all the way to the end zone. There was contact there as Amendola had moved forward. That will be a 72-yard punt for Dustin Colquitt. That's his new long for the season. Previous high 64. They'll have it at the 20 when we come back. An iconic image in this city, the Gateway Arch, built in the mid-60s. We're in St. Louis, and the Rams lead 6-0 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Steven Jackson getting that carry, taking it right up the middle for St. Louis. Sets up a 2nd and 5. From TV's #1 comedy to the #1 new comedy, the #1 news magazine, the #1 news show, and the #1 drama on television. Thanks for making CBS America's #1 network. Shotgun formation, Bradford for Jackson, and Jackson runs into a wall. Glenn Dorsey leading that charge for the Chiefs. Nothing there.
Dorsey's such a huge presence on that defensive line. At 6'1", 297 pounds, here he is, where he gets Saffold there, gets down on his knees, then gets up off his knees and drops Jackson in the backfield.
Glenn Dorsey now in his 3rd year in the NFL, won a national championship with LSU. Was a dominant collegiate player. 3rd and 6. Bradford, swing pass. Can Jackson create after the catch? Makes one man miss. And then Jackson with a flag down. Gang tackled out near the 26-yard line. Andy Studebaker and Derek Johnson there defensively. Holding offense. 77, I think he just said.
For 77.
It is.
Please decline. Makes it 4th down.
I took a course in lip reading over the course of the last week.
There's a lot of that going on every Sunday, isn't there? But that was a great pursuit by the Chiefs linebackers. Johnson getting over there. Studebaker, Tamba Hali even from his defensive end spot ran down Jackson.
And the question, I'm sure, on the minds of Chiefs fans right now, where is the running game that has been so strong throughout the season? Last week they didn't have their lead quarterback, Matt Castle. Brody Croyle started. They had nothing going offensively in the shutout loss in San Diego. There's the return for Arenas. And Javier Arenas forced out of bounds as he crossed the 35-yard line. 16-yard return. We'll see if Kansas City can get something going. A game to forget last week for the Kansas City Chiefs. Didn't score against San Diego. They had 48 rushing yards, 19 passing yards, 0 for 11 on 3rd down.
And 0 for 3 today.
This is 1st down for Jamal Charles. Recently got that new contract. 5 years, $32 million. James Laurinaitis chasing him down.
That's been a tough first half for Matt Castle. Playing just 11 days after an appendectomy. Drop pass here by Dwayne Bowe. And then he gets picked off when he has two receivers in the same spot. But probably the most concerning thing is this hit right here. Pulled down from behind by Chris Long. Best field position, though, for the Chiefs to start a drive. Almost to midfield.
2nd and 5 now for Kansas City. Rams stack the line. Pressure coming. Castle out of it. And Castle has room. Castle getting towards that sideline, and Laurinaitis over there defensively. Looks like they're going to spot it just short of the first down. Let's head to New York right now. Check in with James Brown.
Ian and Dan, you think Peyton Manning's glad to have Austin Collie back in the fold? Play action here. 11 plays, 92 yards, capped with that second touchdown hook up to Austin Collie. Colts on top of Jacksonville, 14-3. Colts looking keep their playoff hopes alive. Ian and Dan.
Well, he's got some weapons. Collie has been dealing with that concussion and such an important part to their offense as a whole. On 3rd and 1, there might be a question as to where the spot was.
Yeah, they're going to Todd Haley threw out the challenge flag, and he thinks Castle got the first down.
It was right in Haley's area.
Kansas City has challenged the ruling on the field for forward progress relative to a first down.
So the question will be where Matt Castle tiptoed out of bounds. And did they give him a fair spot?
Needed to get to the 49-yard line, and the ball never gets to the 49-yard line. Holding it in his left hand is going to come up about 6 inches short. I think this is a good call by the officials. Matt Castle needed to get to the 49-yard line, but because of the angle here, we can't see exactly where the ball is, so there may not be enough video evidence to overturn this call by the officials. But because it happened right in front of Todd Haley, he threw the challenge flag, and Steve Spagnuolo waiting for Ron Winter to come out from under the hood.
Steve just saw it on the big screen here at the Edward Jones Dome. And Ron Winter with the official word.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. The runner went out of bounds. He had the ball in his back hand. Therefore, Kansas City is charged with a timeout. Their first, the 3rd down.
Dan, I believe that's pretty much what you said as we went to break, if I remember correctly, no?
Well, he was carrying the ball in his left hand, and it appeared that the ball, remember, that's where the ball is, not where his feet are, as he goes out of bounds.
Needed definitive evidence to overrule that. So the call on the field stands, and a 3rd and 1 now for Kansas City. Castle to throw, too high! Jackie Battle releasing, and it looked like it was going to be an easy conversion for the Chiefs. It's now 4th down.
Well, you got to wonder about that play by Matt Castle after the run to go out of bounds, where he's really stressing his body. This is an easy throw that he overthrows by 4 or 5 feet.
They're going to go for it.
Tough to draw a defense off sides when the defense is at home.
Inside handoff. Jackie Battle living up to his last name. He's got a first down. Volbora with a tackle.
That was the best run of the day for Kansas City because, number one, it's on 4th and short, but what a great job of seeing the hole and cutting to the right side. Moeaki with a good block right there. Lilja out in front. 7-yard gain for the Chiefs, and they're still in business.
Former member of the practice squad gets it done for Kansas City. Able to convert on 4th down. Fresh set of downs for the Chiefs to work with from the 45. Handoff, it's Jones. He's got an alley and takes it to the 2nd level to the 40-yard line. Laurinaitis throws him down there, and he picks up 5 yards in the process. They average 165 yards per game on the ground. They also lead the NFL in rushing attempts. So they know what they're all about. Down to 8:35 to play in this first half. Castle now will dial up the deep ball. Hauled in. It's Dwayne Bowe over the shoulder grab inside the 10. Ron Bartel back there defensively.
Beautiful throw by Castle. A great adjustment to the ball by Bowe, working against Bartel. Watch him locate the ball here, hold his position, fade to the outside, get both feet down. Huge play for Kansas City. Just what this offense needs.
28 yards on the hookup.
He held Bartel to the inside to the last minute, then faded away from him to make the catch.
Spot the football just outside the 10 at the 11, so they can still get a first down. It's a pitch for Charles with a head of steam. Charles loses his helmet, and the play should be whistled right there.
Yeah, he'll lose about 3 yards on this, because once the helmet comes off, the ball is dead right there where the helmet comes off. So that good effort by Charles to get inside the 5-yard line. They'll move it back to about the 4.5. It looked like his helmet was pulled off by a face mask. That was not called by the officials. Charles very upset about that. Loses yardage and doesn't get the face mask penalty.
Now Mike Vrabel, the linebacker, is checked in. Second and 4. Handoff, cutting it up. Thomas Jones. And he comes up short of the goal line and just a little bit short of a first down.
Well, if there's one guy to give the ball to in short yardage and goal line, it is Thomas Jones. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season, but 67 rushing touchdowns in his 11 years in the NFL.
Well, we told you Steven Jackson has gone over 1,000 yards for the 6th consecutive year. Thomas Jones is trying to do the same. Came in 234 yards away from that mark. 3rd and 1. Moeaki goes in motion. Fake the handoff. Little floater is caught for the touchdown. Kansas City. Leonard Pope. And just like that, the Chiefs are an extra point away from taking the lead.
Beautiful throw by Castle. After missing that short throw, he's made a couple of beauties here. One to Bowe to get him in this position, and now this floater over the top all the way to the 6'8" Leonard Pope for his 2nd touchdown catch of the year. And that will make the Chiefs jazzed on the side. There's a lot of Chief fans here, too.
Oh, you think? There's a lot of red inside this dome. 9 plays, 61 yards, and the 2-yard touchdown on the soft toss. Extra point from Suckup. 24th touchdown of the season for Matt Castle. The Bowe catch set them up deep into St. Louis territory, and then they convert with a touchdown to Pope. In his career, Matt Castle has a record of 7-0 against teams from the NFC West. Kansas City has its first touchdown in the last 9 quarters, and they take a 7-6 lead over St. Louis. Strong drive. They kept that drive going after the 4th down run by Battle.
Jackie Battle is rewarded by having the opportunity to run under this kick.
Is that how it works?
At times when you're the 3rd running back, you've got to play special teams, obviously.
Ryan Suckup kicking off. Amendola going to take it out of the end zone, a yard deep. Amendola squeezes through that hole and then comes up short of the 30-yard line. That's where St. Louis will set up shop. New Year's Eve, the action begins live at noon Eastern here on CBS. NCAA Hoops Kentucky takes on Louisville. Then at 2 o'clock, it's the Hyundai Sun Bowl. Historic rivals meet once again, Notre Dame and Miami. A great day of sports on CBS. New Year's Eve. So a sigh of relief for Kansas City and for their offensive coordinator, I'm sure, Charlie Weiss. His team went out, executed with a strong drive, and now in front of St. Louis 7-6. 6:43 to play in this first half. Bradford fakes the handoff, fires, almost intercepted. Derek Johnson had a chance at his 2nd pick of the season. Brandon Gibson, the intended target for the Rams.
Earlier in the game, the Rams were using a lot of bootlegs and misdirections to get Bradford away from the pressure, but lately it's been right back in the pocket, and you can see the reaction by Derek Johnson there. I think at the last minute that Bradford saw Johnson cutting to the inside there, and that's why he threw the ball kind of low, but Vrabel with the shot on the youngster.
2nd and 10. Amendola goes in motion. Running play and a big hole. It closed quickly. Jackson tried to shoot through it, and Derek Johnson made sure that he wasn't going to get into that second level. So Steven Jackson still limited to a modest gain on that play. Could have been a lot worse. Yesterday, Steven Jackson's 39 Wishes program celebrated the upcoming holiday with his annual Christmas party, and the Rams running back was on hand to host the festivities along with several other stars. A record 3,600 children from the St. Louis area attended the celebration right here on the Edward Jones Dome Field. Good cause. Bradford's pass is broken up. Gibson dealing with Berry, and Eric Berry wins the battle for Kansas City. It's 4th down.
You can't get tighter coverage than Eric Berry on this crossing route. He grabs right there. That could have been called illegal contact. The right hand on the back could have been called pass interference. But when you're hot, and the Chiefs are hot right now getting the calls.
Donnie Jones, the punter. Javier Arenas standing at his own 13-yard line for Kansas City. The Chiefs now in front, 7-6 here in the second quarter. And a flag thrown at the 32.
False start. Offense number 23. A 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
That's Jerome Murphy. You can see him talking to the sidelines here. He's the gunner. And apparently flinched because he had 2 men on him. Gunners have become very important all of a sudden in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah, look out for the wall.
I don't see any walls on either sideline. Donnie Jones puts the foot to it. Arenas moves forward at the 29. Tried to string it to the outside, and still a solid return as he crossed the 40-yard line of 13 yards after the 42-yard punt. Chris Massey, the snapper, getting downfield to make that play. Here's what things look like in the AFC West, Dan. Kansas City at 8-5. San Diego has already won its Week 15 game with a convincing victory over San Francisco. Chargers are 8-6. They're at Cincinnati and at Denver. The Raiders on the periphery at 6-7. They take on Denver, Indianapolis, and wrap up the season at KC.
And Castle told us he drew upon his experience with the Patriots when speaking to his teammates about them making the playoffs. The message was not to worry about messing things up. Don't play tight. Just embrace this opportunity to play for something meaningful here in December.
Shotgun formation for Kansas City with a 1st and 10 at the 41. McCluster goes in motion. They swing it to him, and a penalty marker down as McCluster is hit hard as he crossed the 40-yard line by Bartell and Vobora. But penalty flag on the play. Ron Winter.
This was close to being a backwards pass. Would have made it a running play. So there may not be pass interference here.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 81 was not on the line of scrimmage, then moved up to the line of scrimmage. A 5-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
It's the rookie tight end, Moiaki. First Kansas City penalty of the afternoon.
There he is on the outside. He's got to be up on the line of scrimmage.
1st and 15. Castle directing traffic with 5.5 to go in this second quarter. Protection is there. Castle slings incomplete. Chambers, he ended up getting double coverage, a little bit of help over there as Bradley Fletcher drew the assignment, and then Atagwe ranged over. It's 2nd and 15.
Yeah, that was an interesting way to throw the back shoulder fade. He really fired that, threw it on a line, and sometimes you want to put a little bit more air under it, loft it a little bit more so the receiver can adjust to it. Chambers never saw that ball go whistling by.
2nd and 15 now. On the dump off, set it up. for Charles. And Charles driven hard at the sideline, and a flag thrown. Kevin Dockery over there. Chiefs players celebrating that it's going to go in their direction.
Well, Dockery's mad because he got blocked in the back by McCluster. That wasn't called, but he's called for
After the play
this.
was over. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 35. Two to one to the ground out of bounds. 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Well, Dockery shouldn't have done what he did, but this should have been called illegal block in the back. Here's McCluster right here, and this is clearly a block in the back. Pushes him down to the outside. That's what the fans are looking at right now. That's a penalty on Dockery, but should have been one on McCluster as well.
So they place the football at the 45 of St. Louis. We count down to the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. Kansas City with a 7-6 lead over the Rams. Rams dominated in the first quarter. Castle off the play fake. Throws a strike to Moeaki for a first down across the 35. Ron Bartell over there defensively. It's a 12-yard pass play. And Kansas City has found a rhythm on offense.
Well, and what a weapon they've found in the rookie out of Iowa, Moeaki. It's another catch for him. Came in with 38 on the season, but he's a tight end with wide receiver skills.
First team all Big Ten last year, and a third-round pick by the Chiefs. Scott Pioli building this team the right way. First down for Kansas City. Play action. Castle in trouble. Gets out of it. Castle has room. And Matt Castle keeps going. The tuck and run by Castle for a first down. And he's pumped up. Laurinaitis with a stop. It's a 13-yard quarterback scramble. And a new set of downs for the Chiefs to work with.
Well, Castle's run the ball twice now for 17 yards. He's their leading rusher. And this effort right here pumps up the Chief fans that are here and his whole football team. What an effort by Castle.
First and 10 at the St. Louis 20. Castile shifted a bit on a handoff. Looks like he was shot out of a cannon. Thomas Jones able to build up some speed on the acceleration. And Jones picks up a couple on the play. Vobora with a tackle for St. Louis.
Jones is now just 7 yards away from going over 10,000 for his career.
He would become the third active running back to hit that mark. LaDainian Tomlinson and Fred Taylor the other two. Second and 8 for Kansas City. Movement on that left side. This play is whistled dead. Brandon Albert jump, number 76.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That's a kind of a momentum killer. Jumping off sides here. Had a second down and about 8. Now you're backed up a little bit.
Second and 13 from the Rams 23.
Rams had some of that same problem earlier in this ball game. Lot to play for to both teams today.
Kansas City has posted 9 straight wins over teams from the NFC West. Castle with a high throw. It's handled by Jones. And Thomas Jones knifing his way out across the 10-yard line. He brings that kind of style to this team, and he's given the Chiefs an edge physically, just the way he goes about his business.
He's really remarkable. Nobody is in better condition. Look at the guns. For those of you who don't know what guns are, those are his biceps. They're huge.
Most people don't know about guns like that.
There are a
Thomas
few
Jones,
of his teammates that have arms like that.
hard-nosed 11th year pro, formerly with Arizona, Tampa Bay, Chicago, and the Jets. Right now, the Chiefs knocking on the door to add to their lead with 2 minutes to play first half. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining, 2 minutes to play in this first half, and Kansas City with a 7-6 lead over St. Louis. A first and goal for the Chiefs at the 7-yard line. 3 receivers set. Handoff, it's Jones through a hole, and Jones is brought down right around the 2-yard line by Otagwe, the 6th-year standout from Stanford.
Chiefs have run 28 plays here in the first half. Perfect balance, 14 and 14. They're finally getting something going offensively. 137 yards in offense.
Timeout taken with 1:52 left, second quarter. Second and goal for Kansas City. St. Louis has 1 timeout left. Castle will work out of the gun. Moving pocket, Castle throws and knocked down. Matt Castle with Chris Chamberlain over there defensively to get a piece.
Yeah, Castle talking to Dwayne Bowe. Bowe was on a quick out from the slot here. Ball never got there because of the effort by Chamberlain. Bowe was covered closely though. Good job by Butler coming over. Check it, that's Fletcher. Good play by Fletcher.
So now it's third and goal from the 2. Kansas City with a 1-point lead. Charles in the backfield. He gets the call, and Charles is in. Touchdown. Jamal Charles steamrolling into the end zone to add to the Kansas City lead. It's 13-6.
And the guy that jumped off sides, Brandon Albert, last couple of running plays, yeah, they've run right behind him, right in here. Watch the job done by Albert and Brian Waters and Wegman. A walk-in touchdown for Jamal Charles. That's the way to bounce back from an offsides penalty.
9 plays, 59 yards. It took 4 minutes for Kansas City to move down the field. They also got an important penalty called against St. Louis and Kevin Dockery that put them into better field position to continue that drive, and it ends on a Charles burst from 2 yards away.
This is his 4th touchdown rushing on the season. You really got to hand it to that offensive line. Waters coming off on the linebacker there just drives him all the way back into the end zone. That's Laurinaitis as Charles says bye-bye.
So Kansas City now with a 14-6 advantage. St. Louis has 1 timeout to work with, 1:47 to play in this first half. 61 points scored in the last 2 minutes of first halves. That's the most in the NFL. So good sign for Charlie Weiss and for Matt Castle and company, doing it when it counts most.
And on the ground. In the first quarter, they were a -5 yards rushing. Second quarter, 56 yards rushing, led by Matt Castle. Now Charles and Jones getting in the act as well.
Suck up to kick off for Kansas City. Amendola to return for the Rams.
Ryan Suckup on with Danny Amendola waiting for the kick, averaging 21.5 yards per return and a long of 39. Amendola, 1 yard deep. Made a beeline for the sideline, and he's angled out of bounds out across the 25-yard line by Suckup, the kicker.
Rams have 1 timeout to work with.
Coming up, Sprint halftime report. JB and company, the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
He talked about the injuries to the wide receivers for Sam Bradford and the Rams. This is where it really hurts them because those guys were fast. They could stretch the defense and allow the Rams to move on down the field, but against the Chiefs today, very few passes have been completed more than 20 yards.
So they'll go to the ground game. Jackson with that bruising style, and Jackson will pick up 4 yards on the run. Derek Johnson there defensively for Kansas City.
Gain of 4, 2nd and 6.
2nd and 6 now for St. Louis. 1:20 and counting left in the second quarter. Rush coming. Bradford gets rid of it. And a smack. Trying to hit Amendola. And Eric Berry laying the wood.
That was double wood. Bradford got nailed as he lets it go by Holly right there. And now Berry with the Berry big hit.
Very big. Brandon Carr telling us that Barry is going to be one of the best safeties in the NFL. Very smart, very vocal, in particular before games, trying to get his teammates pumped up.
He knows the game.
3rd and 6. And flags.
Yep, another false start.
It was such a clean start for St. Louis on offense.
Illegal snap, number 60. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Now you think back that first drive, and they were mixing the run and the pass. Bradford was perfect throwing the football. He began 6 of 6. And then we started seeing penalties at the end of that first possession.
And now Kansas City with these 2 timeouts. If this ball is not complete for a first down, I would suspect that they will start using those timeouts. They'll get the ball back in a hurry.
Pat Shurmur calling the plays. Offensive coordinator on a 3rd and 11 after the 7th penalty. And it's incomplete. LaRon Robinson was who Bradford was trying to hit. And it's 4th down, St. Louis.
That's even better than having to use a timeout. The incomplete stops the clock. And you would think that the Chiefs would get pretty good field position for McCluster on this punt. 2 timeouts to work with and a veteran quarterback and a lot of time.
And Bradford now 3 of his last 12 throwing the football, covering just 9 yards.
Had a lot of pressure, has been hit a lot of times here in the first half.
Donnie Jones punting. McCluster at the 30. And the Rams do a good job getting down the field on special teams to make that play on McCluster. Vobora helping to lead that charge. Don't forget, coming up, the Sprint halftime report. JB and the rest of the crew. Scores, highlights, playoff situations developing in the NFL. That's coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
Chiefs will be obviously striving to get a touchdown, but perhaps more important to get 3 points from Ryan Succop. His longest on the season is 47. His longest career is 53.
And Succop in just his 2nd year in the league out of South Carolina. Castle. Oh, what a grab! It's Chambers. Chambers going back in the time machine. The 32-year-old going upstairs to haul in that 26-yard pass from Castle. They are in St. Louis territory, 40 seconds left, and Castle throws it out of bounds. Kansas City still has 2 timeouts to work with.
This is going to be intentional grounding on Castle. No receiver in the area. Official's going to talk about it. They're going to throw the flag on this one.
And there it is.
Castle was in the pocket. Got to be out of the pocket to throw the ball away like that.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 7. A 10-yard penalty and a loss of down.
Castle's going to throw the ball over here, but there will be no Kansas City Chief receiver in that area. Not a lot of pressure there on him, but he just didn't have anything.
So now Kansas City will use a timeout. Clock has stopped, 38 seconds left.
How about this catch you talked about from number 84, Chris Chambers? He's only 5'11", but his arms are like 6'11". Wow, he goes all the way up top. Beautiful throw again by Castle. After that one poor pass on 3rd down and short that Castle overthrew his receiver in the flat, he has been just dead on.
Chris Chambers, Pro Bowler back in 2005, formerly with Miami and San Diego. Castle is now 9 of 16, 114 yards, a touchdown, and a pick.
2nd and 20.
And Todd Haley electing to go with Chambers here today as we hit the final 3 games of the regular season, with Verran Tucker having a much smaller role, the rookie out of California. Wideout. Castle throws. It's complete to Chambers. And Chambers is brought down out across midfield.
Boy, and Castle was just drilled by Chris Long right in the breadbasket as he was firing this ball. That's a very fragile breadbasket.
Kansas City had to use that final timeout. Chambers couldn't get out of bounds, and
Wow.
took a little time for Castle to get up as well.
Oh, he doesn't even flinch, though. Doesn't wince at all. Takes a shot like that after what he's been through.
I know you had a number of injuries you had to deal with during your career, getting hit. The appendix? Come on, that's a tough guy.
I can't even spell it.
I know I
That's
can't
how-
spell appendicitis. I got no shot. 3rd and 14 now for Kansas City.
Can't even spell Laurinaitis. There's a lot of things that end in itis. I don't even want to spell.
3rd and long for the Chiefs. 31 seconds left. Trying to get into field goal range here. Would need to get right around the 34-yard line. They're at the 47. Castle steps. Castle slow throws it. Almost intercepted over at the 30. And it was Darian Stewart in a matchup with Dexter McCluster.
And Castle's hurting. There's no question that he had a chance to run for this first down as he steps up into the pocket. Or not maybe the first down, but at least to get him in field goal range. He's trying to throw that ball beyond the short receiver there. But he had to still feel that big hit by Chris Long.
So that penalty really hurt as Matt Castle threw it away while he was still in the pocket with no receiver in the area. And Kansas City is forced to punt with Colquitt. Fair catch called for. Amendola with 17 seconds left in the first half. St. Louis with 1 timeout remaining. NFC West, remaining schedule for the Rams. They've got San Francisco coming up, then they are at Seattle. Seattle has Atlanta today, Tampa Bay coming up, and then obviously the matchup with St. Louis. The 49ers are still alive at 5-9. They will be at St. Louis and take on Arizona. St. Louis takes a knee, and that's how this first half will end, with Kansas City leading it 14-6 over the Rams in the Battle of Missouri. Kansas City in front. We'll head to New York, JB and company, after the... Back in St. Louis, Matt Castle may not have an appendix, but he does have a touchdown. Castle on the comeback trail. St. Louis started out strong. They were doing it with the running game, but they hit a rut, and it's Kansas City in front as we start play in the third quarter. 14-6, the Chiefs lead it. Let's take a look at the Droid Pro Play presented by Motorola.
As pretty a fade pass as you're going to see thrown by Matt Castle. Good adjustment to the ball by Dwayne Bowe. That got the Chiefs down in the red zone where they cashed in. But what an effort by Matt Castle in that second quarter. He started rough, but boy, he started making some throws that a quarterback who's totally healthy would be proud of. But been playing with his problem with no appendix, as you said, Ian. I have so much more respect for him at this point now because I don't know what he's going through. And it's not a normal situation, but he's rising above all the adversity that he's feeling, leading his team. And remember, this is a meaningful game for both teams, and right now Castle is outplaying everybody else on the field.
Well, there was certainly an air of mystery coming into this game as to what you could expect Matt Castle to go out and do on the field. And Kansas City really picked it up in that second quarter with 51 rushing yards overall, 120 through the air. They did turn the ball over once with the Castle pick. And the St. Louis offense, as promising as they looked early, Rams were unable to carry it through the first half.
Bradford really struggled in the second quarter. He started the game 6 for 6, then went 3 for 12 for just 9 yards. He's got to get hot for the Rams.
And Brown kicking it off for McCluster. Trying to get to the outside, and McCluster is chopped down. George Selvey makes the play on special teams. So Kansas City will have the football to start play this second half. First half possessions, it was Kansas City stubbing its toe quite a bit early on, and then finally getting into some form of a rhythm on offense.
Well, and the amazing thing about their running attack, Matt Castle is the leading rusher, 2 carries for 17 yards. Charles has 4 for 16, and Thomas Jones 7 for 15. So they're balanced, but who would suspect that number 7 would be their leader?
Line of scrimmage is the 17-yard line for KC. Handoff, it's Jones. Thomas Jones dishing out a little bit of punishment. And Jones has just gone over 10,000 yards rushing for his career. The 25th player to do that in NFL history.
That is quite an accomplishment for Thomas Jones. Real stand-up guy, great leader, quiet leader, physical player. Really sets the tone for this offense on the ground.
And the next number he wants to hit is 1,000 for this season. It would be his 6th consecutive 1,000-yard rushing season. Out of the pocket. And Castle's pass is offline. Try to hit Dwayne Bowe. And it brings up 3rd and 6 for Kansas City. Otagwe in coverage for St. Louis.
Otagwe had great coverage on Bowe on that out route. If he steps in front of that, that's one of those pick 6. Big 3rd down now for the Rams defense.
And fans trying to get into it here at the Edward Jones Dome. They know how important this game is for St. Louis at 6 and 7, tied for first with Seattle in the NFC West. And a game and a half ahead of San Francisco. Shotgun formation. Castle fires it inside, and catch made and held on by Moeaki for a first down. Boy, Castle put some mustard on that throw. Kevin Dockery with another smack.
Right, it's a small window to squeeze it in. Good pass protection, good window to throw to Moeaki. Dockery closes quickly, but here is Dockery. Watch as Moeaki comes down. Dockery's going to come, read the quarterback, and deliver the big hit, but it's a first down for KC.
5 first downs last week, a total of 5. They have 12 today. And Castle will throw it near the ankles of Jamal Charles. Didn't have anything going downfield for Kansas City. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Brian Keel was standing right behind Jamal Charles. Smart play by Castle.
2nd and 10.
Now for Todd Haley, they went 4 straight weeks in pads for 3 days, Friday included, backed off this week. As he told us, put them in shells, emphasized to them that you're going to be fresh physically for this matchup against St. Louis. 2nd and 10 now for Kansas City. Moeaki shifts to the backfield. Handoff. Oh, Charles! He's got that game-breaking speed. If he can break that tackle, who knows where this one ends up. It's Craig Dahl making the stop for St. Louis.
Great audible by Castle. He moved Moeaki over here from his wing position. He saw this huge hole. I mean, that is about 7 yards wide. Keel can't make the tackle. It's all the way to the safety, Dahl, before Charles goes down. But that was all on Matt Castle, reading the defense, getting the right play called.
3rd and 1 now for the Chiefs. Inside handoff, and it's Battle who did the work earlier. And that seems to be the call again for Kansas City. You got tight yardage, need a first down, give it to Jackie Battle in his 3rd year from Houston. James Hall wrapped him up for St. Louis, and they'll move the chains.
Battle goes to 38, and he moves the chains with ease. Remember, it was his run on 4th down in that first half, 2nd quarter, that got the Chiefs a big first down, and they went down and scored after it.
Opening drive of this 2nd half with Kansas City leading St. Louis 14-6. Chiefs trying to maintain their lead over the Chargers in the AFC West, and a timeout taken. We'll step aside. 12:17 to play in the 3rd. Kansas City in front. Kansas City had the lead heading into the locker room at the break. St. Louis has lost 33 games in a row when trailing at the half. First down run for Thomas Jones. And Jones takes it to midfield for Kansas City. Dahl and Otagwe there defensively to bring him down. And you could see this Kansas City rushing attack is just getting better with each quarter now, Dan.
Well, they're an undersized offensive line. Todd Haley says this was a good matchup for us because the Rams defensively are not big on the front four.
On the quick toss, and it's Charles chewing up yardage on that sideline. And another first down for Kansas City. We head to the Big Apple right now and check in with JB.
Ian and Dan, coach, out by 11 now. Thanks to Donald Brown on this 2nd and 15-yard play here. He takes it 43 yards, hustling to pay dirt. 10 carries, 123 yards, and a touchdown. His first career 100-yard rushing day. Coach on top, Ian and Dan.
Well, that AFC South crown, you can't hand it over to Jacksonville just yet. Castle in trouble. Castle took a hard shot on that right side by Vobora, the third-year linebacker out of Idaho.
Well, that'll go down as the first sack of the afternoon for the Rams. Came into the game with 36-25 by their defensive line. Here's a linebacker sack as Vobora closes quickly and drops Castle with authority.
They had only 25 sacks all of last season, a 1-in-15 season. Only one team has made the playoffs after winning one game. The next year, the Miami Dolphins in 08. Charles looking to shred this St. Louis defense, and he leaves his feet to the 35-yard line, and James Laurinaitis over there for St. Louis.
Been a good afternoon so far for Jamaal Charles. A rough one at that, as he gets his hat ripped off there, not called, but then he gets pay dirt standing up.
And Castle struggling with a flag thrown right where Castle was brought down, parallel on the far side. Chris Long with a hit for the Rams.
Number 71, Gary Gibson, and number 72, Chris Long.
Ron Winter chatting it over with Steve Spagnuolo, and wants to find out what the Rams are going to do.
Illegal shift. Offense number 82 did not reset prior to the snap. That penalty's declined. Makes it 4th down.
Yeah, back-to-back sacks for the Rams. Chris Long with great pressure that time. And Barry Richardson is working against him.
Now the line of scrimmage is the 35. The only question would be, do you accept it to try to push Kansas City out of field goal range here?
Yeah, this is a long field goal, but these are ideal conditions. Off the carpet, no wind.
53-yard attempt, trying to match the longest of his career. Ryan Succop, the second-year kicker for Kansas City. That one will curl through for Succop. And the Chiefs take a 17-6 lead over St. Louis.
Kansas City 17, Rams 6.
Succop matches his career high. Good leg power from the 24-year-old 7th-round draft pick. And the young people out before the game today participating in punt, pass, and kick. Dan Fouts, a proud alum. Succop kicking off to Amendola. Up the middle now, trying to get to the outside. Kansas City, though, able to make that play on special teams with Eric Berry. 12 plays, 48 yards. They get a 53-yard field goal from Ryan Succop to extend the lead to 17-6. The Rams' opening drive of the game was 53 yards. They have 31 yards of offense since then. That's Steven Jackson out across the 20-yard line. Glenn Dorsey there to make the play for Kansas City.
Yeah, they started the game very strongly, got a couple of field goals, but that's the problem. They just got field goals out of those first two possessions. And right now you can almost see their mindset, giving the ball to Steven Jackson on first down for about a 4-yard gain, but you wonder what they said at halftime. Got to get back to moving the ball on the ground with Jackson.
Down to 9:35 to play in the third. Faked on the trickery, Bradford throwing, and he's got the open man. It's Brandon Gibson. It'll be just short of the 35-yard line, and a first down for St. Louis as Brandon Flowers tossed him down. Look at the standings in the NFC West. St. Louis at 6-7. Seattle also 6-7. San Francisco is at 5-9, and I guess throw Arizona in there as well at 4-9.
The Mild West.
Give is to Jackson. Spin move. And he was held back from behind. Forward progress will get him to the 35-yard line. Tackle made by Johnson of the Chiefs.
Well, last week against the New Orleans Saints, Jackson averaged 6 yards a carry, but the Chiefs so far this afternoon have just been loading the box, playing very close to the line of scrimmage. 14 carries for just 46 yards for Jackson. But he's one of those who could break through that tight defense at any time, and that's what the Rams need.
Romeo Crennel trying to stop Jackson and the impressive rookie Sam Bradford. Jackson did fumble the ball last week. He hadn't fumbled the ball in 562 straight touches. Kansas City pointing in St. Louis's direction.
Yeah, Robert Saffold.
Offense number 6. Second down.
Well, we got most of that.
Well, we need to change our batteries. Saffold now has jumped off sides a couple of times. Here he is in the end line of the scrimmage. Another rookie mistake.
And a second-round pick out of Indiana who has been a surprise for St. Louis. Initially, they thought he was going to slot in at right tackle and that Jason Smith would be the eventual left tackle for this team, but plans have changed. Under 8 minutes to go in the third. Kansas City with a 17-6 lead. Bradford give for Jackson. Stutter step. And Jackson kept those legs moving as he crossed the 35. Chopped down by John McGraw for Kansas City.
Yeah, I like that call, the draw play. That's the first draw play we've seen today out of the Rams.
So it's 7-yard pickup for Jackson, setting up a 3rd and 7 now for St. Louis. Cross-state rivals, 245 miles apart. Kansas City and St. Louis in this Battle of Missouri. 3rd and 7. Bradford deep drop. Bradford forced to throw it away as he throws it to the Kansas City sideline. Andy Studebaker and Wallace Gilberry supplied the heat. Romeo Crennel likes it, and it's 4th down for St. Louis.
Well, they were coming at them at Bradford. 3 of them. Ali gets in the act too. There's Gilberry. Ali from the outside. And lucky just to get the ball out of his hand before Studebaker makes a dive. That's pressure, especially on 3rd down.
So 4th down now for Donnie Jones. And Dexter McCluster waiting for the punt at the 15-yard line. Spiraling kick. Backpedaling. McCluster from the 13. Makes a cut. McCluster, boy, he gets great angles when he starts zigzagging. You get the feeling that he could take it the distance every time he touches it. A 49-yard punt, a 24-yard return.
He might have gone the distance, but Donald Washington, number 27, is going to make the tackle. Left side of the screen. There's the tackle by Washington.
That's his teammate. Brett Miller, backup fullback, was hurt on that special teams play. Just got helped off to the St. Louis sideline. Kansas City with a 1st and 10 at its own 36-yard line. And off for Thomas Jones. And Jones is thrown down by Otagwe.
Jones, the ball carrier. Brought down in the backfield by number 21.
Oshimigo Otagwe with a blitz off the corner. Here he comes right into the backfield here.
Loss of 4.
Avoids the block in the back and makes a big play for the Ram defense.
It's a loss of 4 on the play. 2nd and 14 now at the 32. 6:24 left in this 3rd quarter. Jones again.
And the Rams are getting back to their attacking style on defense, Ian. They talked about to stop the Chiefs. They got to get them before they get going. 2 plays in a row now. Otagwe on 1st down as Miller is going to get a free ride to the locker room to have that knee checked out.
3rd and 11. St. Louis has not been able to muster up much offense since the first quarter. Let's see if they can make a play defensively that might turn this game around. 17-6, Kansas City in front. And a timeout. Play clock was winding down.
And that's the second timeout, the second half.
Total yards, first quarter, Kansas City struggled, 16. They put up 202 yards since then. Flip side for St. Louis with the Chiefs in front 17-6. They just used their second timeout and now face a 3rd and 11 at their own 35-yard line. Castle will work out of the gun. They'll go running play, and St. Louis wasn't fooled with Jamaal Charles and a flag down.
And Charles is down.
Flag on the play.
3 penalties against Kansas City today, 8 against St. Louis.
And apparently this is going to be against the Chiefs as well.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 80 was on the line of scrimmage, moved back off the line of scrimmage. That penalty's declined. Makes it 4th down.
They are looking at the left leg of Jamaal Charles. Charles came into the day 4th in the NFL in rushing.
And they're rubbing his calf as if it's a cramp. And that would be good news for Kansas City. Draw play on 3rd and 11. Gets absolutely nothing. Look at the attacking defense again one more time. Darian Stewart right at the line of scrimmage there, number 20.
Yeah, there's nothing that would indicate injury.
No, but at this time of year, players are not able to condition the same way they do earlier. So you may get more cramps at this stage of the season. And that appears to be the problem with Charles. Good sign.
I think that's a good call by you. And Charles heads to the Kansas City sideline. Obviously didn't come close to a first down. But the better news for the Chiefs is that it doesn't appear to be serious. Colquitt, the punt, having a tremendous day. Amendola did not call for a fair catch, and he got a smack just as he caught the football. 47-yard punt, 1-yard return. Tucker on the stop.
So you want to play special teams and be a gunner? Well, this is Washington being beat up on the outside by Jerome Murphy and then James Butler. But there was no wall on that Kansas City sideline. Totally legal play. But, that, 2 against 1, that's not fair, is it?
Special team seems to be getting a little more attention around the NFL right now. First down for St. Louis. Play fake. Toss it out for Jackson. Makes one man miss and then able to cross the 25-yard line as Derek Johnson will get credit for the tackle. Don't forget, game 2 of the doubleheader. Mark Sanchez and the Jets take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Certainly a game with playoff implications. Or the Broncos battling the Raiders. That's next on CBS this season. More people watch the NFL on CBS than any other network. After the 7-yard pickup, handoff, it's Jackson. And Jackson doesn't have a lot of room to work with. Ron Edwards helped make sure of it. It'll set up 3rd and short as we check in with JB in New York.
Ian and Dan, finally, the Eagles with the touchdown on the scoreboard coming after a Mario Manningham fumble. Michael Vick hooking up with Jeremy Maclin with that 8-yard strike there. It is now a 2-touchdown lead by the Giants, 24-10 late in the 3rd. Ian and Dan.
So the Giants, JB, still in control there. Philadelphia and the Giants come in tied for first in the NFC East. A win and the Giants would control their own fate. Bradford incomplete. Bradford able to keep that play alive and tried to get it to Daniel Fells, but the frustration level is building for this St. Louis offense. They go 3 and out.
Well, it's watch the pressure though by Hali. He gets around the corner there. Jason Smith forces Bradford to hurry his throw, way off balance, throws the ball into the ground, and it's another 3 and out for the Rams offense.
Donnie Jones will punt it. And McCluster standing at his own 25-yard line. Just over 4 minutes to go in this third quarter.
Delay a game, yep.
Play clock had wound down.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains fourth down.
9th penalty against St. Louis, and this one you can't even explain.
It's inexcusable. There are play clocks at both ends of the field. The personal protector is supposed to call the snap count, alert the center to hike the ball. It's not on the punter, it's on the personal protector in front of him. Got to get the ball off. There's the clock, plain sight.
Jones with a high punt. McCluster catches at the 25. Headed towards the sideline. And McCluster stuck his helmet down to come up just short of the 40-yard line. 53-yard punt. Fletcher and Dockery with the stop. Let's go to New York and JB.
The Ian and Dan. Jacksonville is drawn within 7 of Indianapolis. Take a look here. David Garrard, play action. Mike Sims Walker on the receiving end of that 6-yard pass. 7 plays, 77 yards, 24-17. Indy late in the third. Back to Ian and Dan.
And JB, this Jacksonville team has got some resiliency.
Well, you go back to the third game of the season when the Colts went down to Jacksonville with a healthy squad, and David Garrard led them back, the Jags, and beat them.
On a handoff, Thomas Jones, nothing there. Brian Keel defensively, and a little bit of pushing after the play. Richardson and Bartell, no issues.
No, if this was wrestling, Richardson at 314 would have the advantage, just a touch. Here they are.
On second down, Jones never quite got his footing on the cutback, and he's brought down just across the 40-yard line by Laurinaitis. Speaking of wrestling.
Yeah, here's a wrestling match right in front of you there. Actually, it was not Bartell that was tangled up.
Bartell played the role of mediator to say everything's okay. That sounded like a mismatch, didn't it? Good catch with the hands by Chris Chambers, and he's got a first down.
Yeah, those long arms really come into play twice now for Chambers. Remember the catch at the end of the first half when he had to go real high to snag Castle's pass. This one is real low and out in front. But without breaking stride, Chambers makes another huge catch for KC.
Chambers was a healthy inactive just a couple of weeks ago where it looked like he was out of the wide receiver rotation. This week, Todd Haley deciding, hey, let's go with the veteran and a guy that's played in some big games in his career to help lead the way for the younger guys. First down run, it's Jamal Charles. So Charles is okay. Back in there and across the 45-yard line. And brought down by Darrell Scott. Second-year defensive tackle out of Clemson, a 6-yard gain.
Trying to pick up the tempo is Matt Castle in the Chief offense.
Though Kansas City in St. Louis territory, under 2 minutes to play now in the third quarter. Shotgun, handed off, Charles. Sneaky run by Charles, who's able to accelerate for a first down across the 40. Bradley Fletcher with the stop for St. Louis.
Charles is so smooth. He gains yardage so effortlessly. Was on the sidelines at the after the last possession, getting that cramp rubbed out.
Now it's Charles working the other side. And Charles, good juke move, being forced out of bounds as he got to the 33-yard line. That's another example as Craig Dahl came over to make the play. The effortless nature of Charles, that's 6 yards. It didn't feel that way when he got the football.
No, he just kept gliding, and it looked like he was running three-quarter speed.
Kansas City on the move with just over a minute to go in the third. Castle looking downfield. That ball knocked up in the air and incomplete. Jermel Cudjoe, rookie out of Central Oklahoma, getting a piece of it.
And getting a piece of history is Jamal Charles. Taking a breather now on the sidelines, but he's putting up some remarkable numbers. Averaging 4.6 so far today, but this is what he's done. Pretty good company here. B.D. Feathers, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, and Joe the Jet Perry.
3rd and 4. Just over a minute to go in the third. Castle, incomplete. He had McCluster, and it would have been a first down.
McCluster has a dent in his face mask right now. That was a strike from Castle. Watch McCluster. He's going to make, if he makes his catch, he's got a chance to turn it down the sideline, get in the end zone. He's in front of the defensive back there, Darian Stewart, but that ball just clanged off his face mask.
A bullet from Matt Castle, so instead of a first down, it's a 51-yard attempt for Ryan Suckup. He's already made a 53-yarder to match his career long. Suckup. And a flag down as he knocked it through.
False start. Offense number 54. 5-yard penalty. Remains fourth down.
And it's the veteran 4-time Pro Bowler, Brian Waters. And this is going to potentially change the approach of Todd Haley.
Yeah, the punt team comes out right in the middle here. You're going to see Waters just flinch there as it looked like Chris Long moved before but not come into the neutral zone. But Waters yelling at the sidelines there saying, hey, he was drawn off sides.
Well, that's an important penalty. It takes 3 points off the board, keeps this game at 11. And now the punter comes on, Dustin Colquitt. This one will bounce and settle in inside the 5. Looked like it was touched before that. But Colquitt has done his job. The St. Louis offense is pinned, and the Rams have not been able to get anything working on offense since the first quarter.
You know, this game, with the way the crowd is split between St. Louis fans and KC fans, also has a feeling of a bowl game where every play, regardless of what the outcome is, people cheer.
Yeah, there's a reaction, and a positive one. Hand off, Jackson with a second effort, able to hop step his way out across the 5. What are they playing for, Dan? Well, really the playoffs, but the Governor's Cup is on the line as well.
This is a beautiful trophy.
Normally that's given in the preseason when these two teams play, but because they have a regular season matchup this year, the governor of Missouri, Jay Nixon, was asked about it. He said, yes, the cup is up for grabs.
Thank goodness.
I know, there's a lot of emotion that goes into it. 2nd and 7. Bradford throwing out of the end zone. Incomplete. Bradford has not gotten a whole lot of help today. Brandon Gibson in a matchup with Brandon Carr. And it's the Kansas City Brandon winning the battle.
It was a great throw by Bradford out of his own end zone, but watch the right hand come in and just swat it away. Heads up play by Brandon Carr. He learned a lot from his defensive back coach, the great Emmett Thomas, a Hall of Famer. That looked a lot like Thomas. The awareness of where the ball is and how to get it out of the receiver's hands.
Yeah, I thought Carr had a great comment when we asked him about last week. He said, look, we're eager to get back on the field after what happened against San Diego. That wasn't us versus the Chargers. We're not talking about anything beyond this week, playoffs, just this game. Bradford, and he's thrown down as he hit the 10-yard line short of a first down by Derek Johnson. End of the third quarter with Kansas City in front of St. Louis, 17-6. We'll return with more action. This is the NFL on CBS.
There's the great Emmett Thomas, number 18. Used to terrorize a lot of us young quarterbacks back in the 70s. What a great defense the Chiefs had back then. Took me off twice. I remember both of them.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You wouldn't stop talking about them over the weekend. Javier Arenas moving forward. I think your quote was, they weren't my fault.
Well, the 240 other ones weren't my fault.
Just not those two.
He was awesome. Awesome.
Ticketmaster Trivia Challenge brought to you by NFL.
The Kansas City Chiefs trying to hold on to the top spot in the AFC West. They've got a half-game lead over the San Diego Chargers. Meanwhile, St. Louis Rams come in tied with Seattle for the lead in the NFC West. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew with you here in St. Louis. Kansas City with a 17-6 lead over the Rams just underway here in the fourth. Castle, play fake. Castle, good touch on that ball to Dwayne Bowe. And Bowe able to turn it upfield. He's forced out of bounds at the 29-yard line. The matchup against Laurinaitis.
Well, it's a play-action pass play put by the Chiefs, and it's absolutely perfect because it gives Bowe time to come from the far side of the field all the way to the other numbers to make this catch and get out of bounds. But Castle, you can see, had nobody near him in the pocket. Perfect play call on first down, especially when you're having success running the ball.
And it covers 25 yards. Castle now 14 of 27, 177 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And it's Castle keeping it himself. Is that a smart move right now, considering what Castle's been through over the last 11 days? Ron Bartell with a hit.
Well, he said he was 99.9999% healthy. And I think we could round it out all the way to 100% the way he's performed today. That was a designed quarterback rollout.
At first, he didn't know if he had something that affected his stomach, eating on Tuesday. He didn't know what to make of it. Thought he might have the flu. He called the trainer, David Price, on a handoff right up the middle for Thomas Jones, and Jones is brought down just short of the 20-yard line. And Price then talked to Todd Haley, who said, you know what, it could be his appendix. That was Haley's first thought when he heard what Castle was complaining of, and Haley was right. He came in for the examination the next day. An hour and a half later, he was on the operating table for emergency surgery.
And 11 days later, he's performing like an all-pro.
Yep. Matt Castle, the leadership ability, and a big part of the turnaround with the Kansas City Chiefs from last year to this year. Jones is dropped at the line of scrimmage on a 3rd and 1. Bradley Fletcher there defensively. And now Ryan Suckup will come on for a field goal attempt, shorter than the ones that he's seen earlier in the day. So Castle, 177 yards through the air, 20 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. This is a 38-yard attempt for Ryan Suckup. He was Mr. Irrelevant in 2009, the last player taken in the draft. So we have two of them in this game today, Suckup and Vobora. Suckup knocks it through to give Kansas City a 20-6 lead over St. Louis. More fourth quarter action coming up. Courthouse just across the river here in St. Louis. Kansas City leading the Rams 20-6. Matt Castle putting together another productive drive. 5 plays, 34 yards. Suckup the 38-yard field goal. And now Suckup will kick off for Kansas City. Amendola from the 4-yard line. And Amendola is ridden down at the 23 of St. Louis. Coming up tonight on 60 Minutes, a discovery about memory. People who have a remarkable ability to remember every day of their lives. What could it mean for the rest of us? Find out tonight on 60 Minutes, only CBS.
And if only the Rams could remember that first drive.
Yeah, good point. They had 4 first downs on the opening drive. They have had 2 first downs on their last 8. If it's going to happen, it has to happen soon here for the St. Louis offense. They trail 20-6. Bradford's pass is knocked down. Tamba Hali. Boy, what a season he has put together at that outside linebacker position. Playoff picture in the NFC. Atlanta right now, the cream of the crop at 11-2. Chicago, Philadelphia, St. Louis, the current division leaders, but things can change with the way the New York Giants are playing and the way that the New Orleans Saints have been performing. Kind of a forgotten team considering they won the Super Bowl last year.
And Seattle hosting Atlanta later today. That's a tough place to play for Atlanta.
2nd and 10. Shotgun formation. Bradford. Deep ball. Incomplete. He was trying to hit Demario Alexander, the rookie out of Missouri.
Bradford's pass incomplete for
A lot going on, so we check in with JB.
Hey, Ian, let me show you how the defending champions are doing. Drew Brees' third touchdown toss. Dan Fouts, take a look at this. Brees up top, tipped by Marcus Colson, caught by Lance Moore. 15-yard pass play. I asked Coach Cowher, did they draw it up that way? He said, of course. It's all knotted at 24. Ian and Dan.
Sure you had one of those somewhere. Jefferson, Joyner.
Not nearly enough.
Yeah, it's true. Still goes down as a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Bradford gets rid of the ball, and it's on time. Good throw to Daniel Fells for a first down.
Yeah, and the crowd goes wild, all those that are wearing blue, because it's been a long time since the Rams have had a positive play on offense. Fells with a nice catch there.
first down. Ball at their own 37.
Good throw by Bradford.
Bradford now 12 of 26 for 84 yards. They've had 7 punts. They've had 7 first downs today. Bradford looking. Oh, too high. He had Fells breaking free
Bradford's pass for Fells.
to that second level.
Yeah, that's just being a rookie on that type of play. He did a nice job of stepping up, avoiding the pressure, but then his eyes got big. He sees Fells down the field here, but instead of just lofting it with a little bit of touch, throws a fastball high and outside. That's what pressure will do to any quarterback, doubly so for a rookie.
Second and 10 now for St. Louis. Here comes the rush. Bradford's ball popped up in the air, up for grabs. Incomplete. Derek Johnson got his hand on it, and Eric Berry had the opportunity for the INT.
Well, the ball was in the air for so long. Berry probably should have called for a fair catch, and everybody would have stopped. Watch
Yeah.
this ball. Derek Johnson again knocks it up in the air, but Berry, trying to time his jump, was over anxious and couldn't come down with it.
The 2009 Jim Thorpe Award winner, top defensive back in college football out of Tennessee, an All-American. Third and 10. Bradford in the pocket. Bradford throws. Tight space out near midfield, and he's got Alexander. Demario Alexander with his 12th catch of the season. It covers 12 yards.
And they're probably the biggest because it's the most important at this point. Great coverage by Carr. Great throw by Bradford. And what can you say about the catch? Anything but great.
I don't know if Kansas City thought that he trapped that ball. And the officials heading over.
Do not see the red challenge flag out. Yeah, there it is. It's out back at the 28-yard line. Haley threw it the wrong way.
The previous play,
No, he trapped it.
Kansas City has challenged a ruling on the field.
That's a good challenge by Haley. That ball was clearly out.
Haley doing the right thing. His coach is upstairs helping him out. Looks like this one might come back.
Real good effort by Demario Alexander here, but this one's going to come back. He's about a finger or two short of being all the way under that ball. Ball clearly hits the ground. Good challenge by Haley.
So Ron Winter has seen a few looks at it. This would have been a first down for St. Louis out near midfield on a third down throw by Bradford.
That can't get tighter coverage than Brandon Carr has right there, right on the back. Carr's a big defensive back at 6 foot, 207 pounds. It's one of the instructions that Emmett Thomas told him, just lay on those receivers. Use your size, big man.
And Ron isn't finished.
Well, they got to go back now and see where the ball was spotted, the time on the clock, all those things. This will bring up a fourth down for the Rams.
.57 to go in the fourth. Kansas City in control here with a 20-6 lead. And it looks like they'll be getting the football back.
After review, the receiver did not control the ball. The ball hit the ground. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass. Kansas City has not charged a timeout. However, that is their second and final challenge available for the duration of the game. Please reset the game clock to 11:19.
This is what Ron Winters saw. Ball comes in, but it's going to go to the ground. And with those white gloves, you can see that the ball clearly hits the ground. Incomplete.
So St. Louis forced to punt with Donnie Jones. It will be Javier Arenas. His cousin was just traded by the Washington Wizards down to the Orlando Magic in the NBA. We're multifaceted. Gilbert Arenas. And Javier Arenas is brought down just across the 15-yard line. Chris Chamberlain the play on special team. 20-6 Kansas City. Kansas City Chiefs trying to win their first division title since 2003. A win here will keep them one game ahead of the San Diego Chargers in the AFC West. They've got a 20-6 lead over St. Louis. Chiefs with a football, 1st and 10 at their own 17-yard line. 280 yards of offense for Kansas City and a flag down. Hand off to Thomas Jones and sprawled out right at the line of scrimmage by Otagwe.
This may be another illegal formation as Castle had to move Bo to the other side of the formation after they got to the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation. 6 starter. 76. That penalty's declined. Make it 2nd down.
No, we got about 33% of it, but I think we got the most important parts.
Penalty was declined. 2nd down and 9.
Under 11 minutes to go. The fans here cheering on this defense. Rams have to get the football back without any further damage from Kansas City. Handoff. Straight line for Thomas Jones. And he lost the football. Rams come up with it. Right at the end of the play, Ron Bartell took it away. And he's got it.
But was he down before the ball came out? The officials are talking about it.
Keep in mind, Todd Haley has no challenges left.
Yeah, he was down. And the ball comes out. If he had a challenge left, he'd still have the ball, but it's going to be Rams ball. Although there is a conference going on at the 30-yard line, this may be reversed without a review.
The officials huddled up right now. Todd Haley extending out onto the field.
The ruling on the field is that the runner's knee was down before he lost the ball. Kansas City ball.
Kansas City will keep the football.
Actually, the initial ruling on the field was fumble because they did not blow the whistle when the knee went down. So they had to get together, talk about it, and reverse the call that was initially made. Now, Spagnuolo has a challenge, but I'm sure he's getting word from upstairs to put that red hanky back in your pocket, Coach. This is a good call, and he just saw it on the replay board here at the stadium.
Yep. It goes down as a 16-yard gain for Thomas Jones.
And that little reverse action where they fake the ball to McCluster has really helped open up the running lanes for Jones.
And another run for Jones. This time he takes it into the line and picks up a yard. Otagwe making the play defensively. So here are the standings in the AFC West. A win here for Kansas City, and the Chiefs still control their own destiny the rest of the way. Home for Tennessee. Next week, hosting Oakland to wrap up their regular season. This is a team that's undefeated at home. Arizona has lost to Carolina, so for those who are holding out hope that the Cardinals still had a chance to make the playoffs, no. Castle is down. And it's James Hall, the veteran. 8.5 sacks on the season now for Hall, one of the leaders of this St. Louis defense.
Heck of an effort by James Hall. Fighting against Brandon Albert here. Albert tackles him, or tries to hold him, couldn't even hold him, and Castle pays the price.
Loss of 8 on the play. It is 3rd and 17 now, with 9:25 and counting left in this fourth quarter. McCluster goes in motion. They get it to McCluster. And McCluster surrounded as he made his move across the 30-yard line. Laurinaitis there. C.J. Ayu also there for St. Louis, and Kansas City will punt it on 4th down.
That sack by James Hall really has given the Rams defense a boost and then offense a chance to get something going. They should get pretty decent field position after this punt.
Danny Amendola averaging just over 11.5 yards per return. Colquitt. High punt inside this dome. Amendola moves forward from the 24. And he's brought down quickly as he crosses the 25. 44-yard punt, a 3-yard return. Corey Greenwood makes the play on special teams. NFC playoff picture. Atlanta at 11-2, Chicago 9-4, Philadelphia in some trouble, trailing the Giants 31-17 right now. So it would be the Giants taking over the division lead in the NFC East.
1st and 10 Rams at their own 28-yard line.
Baltimore leading New Orleans 27-24. So New Orleans currently at 10-3 and holding down the wild card spot. Amendola creating after the catch. And caught by John McGraw of Kansas City. It's a 1st down for St. Louis. 15 yards on the catch and run.
Yeah, well designed and well executed by the Rams, getting the ball out to the shifty Amendola with blockers in front.
Line of scrimmage is now the 43-yard line. Kansas City is trying to finish this one off against St. Louis. Bradford, swing it out. Jackson, oh, it took a shot. Derek Johnson with the extra hit as Javier Arenas was out there in space.
That may have stunned Johnson more than Jackson. Leading with the helmet right into the back of Steven Jackson.
Second and 4 after the 6-yard pickup. Bradford now 105 yards passing here today. Bradford to throw. Handled nicely right at the 1st down line by Amendola. And Arenas drawing the coverage for Kansas City. And it will be enough for a 1st down.
Well, we talked about Amendola's ability to make the tough catch. That was one of them right there.
Bradford now 15 of 32, 110 yards for St. Louis. Under 7 minutes to play now. Kansas City with a 20-6 lead. Shotgun formation. Bradford. He throws, and it's through the hands of the intended receiver, LaRon Robinson. Brandon Flowers drawing that assignment for the Chiefs.
Wow, this ball's got to be caught. Bradford got back quickly, got the ball out of his hand, put it on the receiver. The good throwing lane right through his hands.
You like Bradford? You like the upside?
I think he's going to be a real star in this league. He's cool. He's a good leader. This is where he's most impressive. He competes.
2nd and 10 from the 46. Bradford throwing, and it's caught. Brandon Gibson. And Sam Bradford has just gone over 3,000 yards passing. The 3rd rookie to ever do that, along with Peyton Manning and Matt Ryan.
That's some pretty good company.
3rd and 1 now for St. Louis. They are inside the Kansas City 40. Jackson's going to get him the 1st down as he crosses the 35. So this drive will continue with just over 6 minutes to play in the 4th. And there is Sam Bradford joining that list with Manning and Ryan. And odds are he'll probably catch Ryan with 2 more games to play. Manning might be a little more challenging. First down for the Rams. Bradford throwing. Boy, did he catch that cleanly? Danny Amendola. A sprawling grab by Amendola.
Well, and remember, the Chiefs have no ability to challenge this, although that was a perfect catch, sliding on his back. Talk about putting the ball where only his receiver can make the catch. Good throw by Bradford.
Great concentration on a 16-yard reception.
Time to take shots into the end zone now. No more dinking and dunking.
First and 10 from the 17. Bradford throwing on an out route. Incomplete. St. Louis down 2 touchdowns. Alexander matched up with Carr on that play.
Again, they're trying to hit that back shoulder fade to Alexander. Alexander, you can see the inexperience of both these rookies. Ball well off target. No adjustment by Alexander.
.5:13 to play. Second and 10 for St. Louis. From the gun. Bradford throwing underneath. And Amendola able to curl it upfield for some extra yardage just inside the 10. Carr and Berry bring him down.
Great hands. Great hands in front of Carr there. It looked like he was going to spin to get to the corner, but Carr, very physical, stopped him easily.
9-yard gain, so it sets up 3rd and 1. They just ran it on their last 3rd and 1 to Jackson to get the first down. Bradford gets rid of it. And a heck of a grab there once again by Amendola. We are seeing the great hands on display over the course of this drive. The clock is moving down to 4:28 and counting. And St. Louis trailing 20-6. It's a first down, a 1st and goal at the 5.
Well, if I'm the Chiefs defense, I might be looking for number 16. I'll help him show him where he is. 7 catches now for 60 yards and 3 big ones in a row here.
Shotgun formation. St. Louis needs a touchdown. They're not going to get it there on a bounce from Bradford in the direction of Amendola.
Bradford's pass for Amendola incomplete.
Buffalo has defeated Miami. The Dolphins have been eliminated from playoff contention. So after Miami's win last week, an ugly one, but a win nonetheless over the Jets, they can't make it stick. And the Buffalo Bills get a divisional win. An improvement from the Bills,
Absolutely.
by the way.
Chan Gailey doing a great job in Buffalo.
Ryan Fitzpatrick could have that job for an extended period.
He deserves it.
Handoff, Jackson, right up the middle. Touchdown, Rams. St. Louis still alive with 4:04 left in the 4th. A long drive by Bradford and the Rams. 12 plays, 72 yards, and the 5-yard touchdown run for Steven Jackson. His 5th rushing touchdown of the season. Point after, Josh Brown. It's a 7-point game.
Real basic power play here. Jacob Bell coming on the pull. Steven Jackson getting behind that double team of Goldberg and Jason Brown, walks into the end zone. Just what the Rams need. They've got all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Now it'll be up to their defense to stop the Chiefs, but that was a very impressive drive led by Bradford, and talk about a clutch receiver. Danny Amendola doing a great job.
Well, you take a look at the clock, 4:04 remaining. St. Louis is going to kick it off to Kansas City. Kansas City will get the football, a 20-13 lead. Chiefs have 1 timeout remaining. Steve Spagnuolo has 3 timeouts remaining. So the opportunity could be there for St. Louis to rally here in the 4th.
Well, they have the momentum after that defensive stand and then the offense taking over. marching the length of the field. And again, it's Bradford cool, getting the pass protection, finding a receiver who will catch the ball every time it's thrown to him, and then Jackson paying it off.
They could not build any consistency offensively after that first drive until this last drive, where Bradford took them right down the field. 12 plays, 72 yards.
10 passes on those 12 plays, Ian. 7 completions for Bradford.
Kicking off to McCluster. And McCluster goes down hard, short of the 20-yard line. So the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to do something offensively to secure this win and to avoid their defense coming onto the field to stop St. Louis. Coming up next, game 2 of the doubleheader. Mark Sanchez and the Jets taking on the Steelers. The Broncos battling the Raiders. That's next here on CBS. This season, more people watch the NFL on CBS than any other network. And even 4 minutes to play. Kansas City 20, St. Louis 13. Chiefs with a 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. Handoff, it goes up the middle. Jamal Charles! A foot race now, and Charles is a former track star. Dragged down Ron Bartell. And Charles needs help. 80-yard run for Charles, and he nearly put this game away.
That's that action we've seen all day long where they fake the ball on the end around to McCluster. They've been giving it to Thomas Jones. Jones has made some nice gains, but nothing like this from Jamal Charles. What an effort by Bartell to keep him out of the end zone and keep the Rams alive.
Jamal Charles was able to get up and walk off the field to the Kansas City sideline. He had a cramp earlier in his left leg. He was run down by Ron Bartell of St. Louis. A game summary here. Castle with a touchdown to Pope after 2 field goals from St. Louis. Kansas City took the lead, added to it. Charles touchdown. Jackson comes back for St. Louis, finally showing some signs of life in the 4th quarter. But Charles nearly put this game on ice with an 80-yard run, the longest run of his career. And now it's a 1st and goal for Kansas City. Moeaki goes in motion. Handoff. Jones going airborne. And he's in. Touchdown. Thomas Jones going over the top for Kansas City.
And he was led into the end zone by 325-pound fullback Sean Smith. Jones got right on his back and just rode the wave into the end zone. And what a response by the Chiefs. 80 yards by Charles. Thomas with the capper.
Kansas City. What an answer. Charles, 11 carries, 126 yards and a touchdown. Jones now with a touchdown run. He's got 54 yards on the ground. And the leadership ability of Matt Castle 11 days ago, emergency appendectomy. And he is 3 minutes and 26 seconds away from leading the Chiefs to a 9-5 record and 1st place by themselves in the AFC West.
Well, in the circle is big Sean Smith, but it's the right guard Lilja and the center Wigman, and Thomas getting it right in behind them, and then the momentum carries him into the end zone. Great effort here. He's short right now, but he gets help from his buddies to push him in and across the goal line. All set up by the Charles 80-yarder. The play off the right side, he cuts it back. The pursuit by Craig Dahl, he overruns it, and now it's a foot race as Charles checking out the big screen, seeing if anybody's catching him. Oh yeah, somebody's going to catch you. Great effort by Bartell, Ronald Bartell running down the speedster Charles, but Jones finishes him off.
After the 1st quarter, Kansas City had -5 yards rushing. Right now, you tally it all up, 205 yards on the ground, the #1 rushing team in the NFL. Suckup kicks it off. Amendola returning for St. Louis. Amendola brought down. Out in the open field, it was Travis Daniels making the play.
17-yard return. First and 10 Rams at their own 19.
27-13, Kansas City leads it with 3:22 to go now in the fourth quarter. The Rams were able to climb to within 7. And Kansas City doing what they do best, running the football. Charles an 80-yard run, and then Thomas Jones turns it into 7 points. Dump off for Jackson, and Jackson is twirled down as he crossed the 25. Hit by Eric Berry.
Berry on the tackle. Gain of 9.
Yeah, tall order for Sam Bradford now. Down by 14. Boy.
Now the clock is not their friend. This offense just wasn't around for a long stretch. Ball was loose, and it is recovered by Jacob Bell. Wallace Gilberry knocked it free, and St. Louis will hold on to the football with 2:50 to play.
So this will go down as another sack for Gilberry and a forced fumble. Heads up by the Rams to get on this loose ball.
Recovered by number 63, Jacob Bell.
And a timeout taken on the field as Bell got that recovery. Gilberry, another strong defensive play from Kansas City. So with 2:50 left now, Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. You know, the response for Kansas City after it looked like the Rams had momentum, and they've gone down and got the touchdown. Place is all jazzed, and now the place is half empty because of an 80-yard run by Jamal Charles.
Well, you learn something about these teams in these kind of moments as well. And with Kansas City, what was the terminology that Todd Haley used? Hey, uncharted territory. We don't know. We're not sure how the guys are going to respond. We feel good about their week of practice. And Bradford gets dumped. Wallace Gilberry. What a day he's put together for the Kansas City defense.
Well, and the thing that Haley talked about was going back to fundamentals, back to the basics, taking the pads off, getting his players fresh, and not making this game out to be any bigger than any other game. They are in control of their own destiny. And they got back to being the rushing leader of the NFL.
Yep.
Putting the ball on the ground. You got to give Charlie Weis a lot of credit for his game plan today.
It's hard to believe that they were held to 67 yards of offense against San Diego.
Yeah, it's just the way the NFL is. I mean, you see teams play great one week and then absolutely come out flat. And so much of this game is about emotion. So the Rams come out today high as a kite, went down and got a couple of field goals. Kansas City hung in there and just got back to basics.
So St. Louis will go for it on 4th and 19. 2:45 to play. Bradford going against the grain. Deep ball. And it's intercepted. Picked off by Kendrick Lewis. The rookie has his second interception of the season. Denario Alexander, the intended target, and getting some kudos from his defensive coordinator, Romeo Crennel.
Well, it's worth the shot. You know, go ahead, fire it deep, try to get the ball to Alexander, but the rookie, Lewis, as you said, Ian, was all over that ball and really made a nice catch going up real high to make it.
The Kansas City Chiefs will improve to 9-5 and maintain a one-game lead in the AFC West. Indianapolis 8-6, and now it's the Colts leading the way in the AFC South after the victory over Jacksonville 34-24.
And which New York Jet team will show up this afternoon?
Oh, isn't that an intriguing question, Dan?
We saw them last week against the Dolphins in the rain at East Meadowlands, and they were horrible.
First and 10 at the 49. Handoff for Jones, a chance to pad his numbers a bit. David Vobora with a stop for St. Louis. And that is the second half of the doubleheader coming up. The NFL on CBS, the Jets at Pittsburgh, or Denver taking on the Oakland Raiders, as the Raiders are a team that is trying to stay alive in the AFC West.
The turnaround for the Chiefs running the ball. How about that? 220-yard difference.
That's a must-win situation for the Raiders, or they will be eliminated after this win from Kansas City. 2:32 left. St. Louis has one timeout remaining and the 2-minute warning. Now this Kansas City team got to go back to the 2006 season. That's the last time the Chiefs made the playoffs. Who was their head coach?
Thank you, Herman Edwards.
Thank you. At the end of the day, they got in the postseason that year. But they have not won a playoff game since 1993 there, Coach.
Hank Stram?
No, a little before. Marty Schottenheimer. Okay. Marty was the man in charge. And off, it's Jones' stutter step out across the 45-yard line. Let's take you back. 2006. Chiefs beat the Jaguars 35-30 in their last game of the season. Tennessee, Cincinnati, and Denver all lost their final games. That allowed the 9-7 Chiefs to sneak into the playoffs. They lost rather handily, 23-8 to the Colts. 2-minute warning here in St. Louis. Kansas City is in control over the Rams. Giving Kansas City the win here to improve to 9-5. San Diego got the victory on Thursday night over San Francisco. One game behind the Chiefs. Meanwhile, St. Louis is going to drop to 6-8. Yet they still have a legitimate chance to win their division. Tried the quick slant to Dwayne Bowe, and it was broken up. Bradley Fletcher. And it's fourth down. So now St. Louis a half game behind Seattle.
4th and 4.
They will play one another at the end of the season. And St. Louis will be home for San Francisco next Sunday.
And Seattle this afternoon plays Atlanta at home. So anything can happen there. Seattle been very inconsistent as well.
Handoff, Thomas Jones. And Jones on fourth down comes up short. Laurinaitis. So Kansas City turns it over on downs with 1:51 to go and a 14-point lead. St. Louis has no timeouts remaining.
Obviously, Todd Haley did not want to risk a bad snap on the punt or a punt return by the Rams. Decides to give the Rams field position with no timeouts and not much time left.
Coming up next, the Jets in Pittsburgh. Denver is visiting Oakland. Second half of our NFL on CBS doubleheader. 387 yards of offense for Kansas City. St. Louis with 201. Bradford throws and over the middle to Fells. And Fells spilled out across the 35-yard line to the 34 by Travis Daniels. It's first down for the Rams, 26 yards. Bradford now 21 of 42, 182 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Bradford working quickly here. High throw, and he just threw it right to Lewis. He got him for the second time.
Yeah, overthrew LaRon Robinson.
And a flag is down at the 32-yard line.
This may be an illegal block after the interception. But just playing center field is the rookie, Kendrick Lewis, with his second pick.
Lewis, a fifth-round pick out of Mississippi. He has found a role on this Kansas City defense.
After the interception, after the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 53, the intercepting team. A 15-yard penalty, first down.
And DeMario Williams called on the penalty. Remaining schedule for Kansas City. Tennessee and Oakland both will be at Arrowhead for the Chiefs. And an opportunity for the Kansas City Chiefs to go back to the playoffs if they take care of their own business.
After the penalty, 1st and 10, Kansas City at their own 17.
Remaining schedule for St. Louis. They take on San Francisco next week and then at Seattle. Kansas City takes a knee with 1:19 and counting left in this fourth quarter. The executive producer of the NFL on CBS is Sean McManus. The vice president of production, Harold Bryant. Today's game produced by Bob Monsbach, directed by Suzanne Smith. Senior producer of CBS Sports and the NFL Today, Eric Mann. Director is Bob Matina. Coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Lance Barrow. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Steve Karasik. The associate directors of today's game, Jonathan Siegel and Alana Campbell. Broadcast associates, Eric Spitzer and Adam Holzman. The technical manager, Doug Fleetum. Technical director, Terry Rosich. And the audio supervisor, Dave Grunvig.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Have a great holiday. Stats provided by Butch Baird and John Gwynn in the truck. Our spotter today, Ted Emmerich. The Kansas City Chiefs are the Kings of Missouri. 27-13, the Chiefs over the Rams. Kansas City maintains a one-game lead over San Diego in the AFC West. Final score at the Edward Jones Dome, 27-13, Kansas City over St. Louis. Coming up, game 2 of the doubleheader. The Jets and the Steelers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. So for Dan Fouts, the rest of our crew, this is Ian Eagle. So long from St. Louis. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.